Hey guys, Michael here from michaelsherlock.com. Today is February 9th, 2011, and the big, super hyped HP Palm Think Beyond event was today. Let's go ahead and recap it and talk about the new hardware. So first of all, to replace the Palm Pixie of the past, we now have the HP Veer. This device sports a 2.6-inch screen at 360 by 400 pixels. It's 54.5 millimeters by 84 millimeters by 15.3 or 7 millimeters, bringing that total up to 103 grams if you want to weigh it. 512 megabytes of RAM, which is actually pretty solid. Full QWERTY keyboard support, or should I say full QWERTY keyboard. An 800 megahertz Snapdragon processor. This is the latest Qualcomm chipset clocked at 800 megahertz, so that's pretty exciting. Don't let the clock speed fool you. 910 milliamp hour battery for pretty solid performance, which again, that seems a little bit on the low side, but this is a lower end device. It has a smaller screen, so it doesn't require as much juice. A 5 megapixel rear facing camera. HSPA Plus radio, so this phone will probably be coming to either it's AT&T, T-Mobile, or both. 8 gigabytes of internal storage, mobile hotspot support, as well as your standard array of sensors including light proximity and accelerometer. This device will be shipping in early spring, and since it's nearly spring, it's nearly March now, this device should be in our hands within the next few months. But I think the better smartphone that was announced today is the Pre3. At 111 millimeters by 64 millimeters by 16 millimeters, which is 156 grams or 5.5 ounces in the weight department, you will get a 3.58-inch screen at 480 by 800 pixels with a large backlit QWERTY keyboard that slides up just like the pre-form factor that we've come to know and adore. In terms of speed, you're going to get 512 megabytes of RAM to work with and multitask. And again, the latest Snapdragon Qualcomm processor clocked at 1.4 gigahertz. That is an extremely fast clock speed. I'm quite impressed by that. There's nothing on the market over, right now, I guess, released technically now, 1 gigahertz is probably the industry standard. We see, I believe, dual core chips, so let's say the Atrix and the Droid Bionic, but those aren't out yet. So 1.4 gigahertz is quite impressive. It will have a 5 megapixel 720p capturing rear-facing camera, as well as a VGA front-facing camera for video chat, as has become quite popular, especially since Apple launched FaceTime last year on the iPhone 4. In terms of internal storage, we'll get 8 or 16 gigabytes for you. It'll have a mobile hotspot. What's cool here is it's a 1230 milliamp hour battery, but it's removable and rechargeable, so if you really use so much power with your smartphones, you'll be able to, hot swap, or not really hot swap, but swap batteries throughout the day if that's something into. A friend of mine actually has a Droid Incredible, and he swaps batteries throughout the day to maximize his performance. In terms of what networks we'll be seeing this on, it could be any of the big four in the United States because there'll be an HSPA Plus model as well as the CDMA Rev A one. And what's interesting is they actually quickly glossed over that the Pre2 will finally be available for pre-order from Verizon Wireless starting tomorrow. Don't buy it, because I'm pretty sure that the Pre3, when this comes out in the summer 2011, will be available on Verizon Wireless at the least. I would actually expect that since HP really wants to get this into everybody's hands, to get this operating system in everybody's hands, by the end of 2011, I would not be surprised if all four major carriers had a Pre3 unit available. But I think the gist of this and what we were really expecting were tablets. So HP has graced us with the Touchpad. 190 millimeters by 242 millimeters by 13.7 millimeters, or 740 grams, or 1.6 pounds. The HP Touchpad will sport a 9.7-inch 1040 by 768 or 720p display. I'm quite excited about this, but this is a pretty nice display, high pixel resolution. But what's going to be powering it? 1 gigabyte of RAM and a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon processor. For a mobile thing, I've seen dual cores that's starting to take over, again, the Atrix and the Droid Bionic, but at 1.2 clock speed with a dual core, this is the fastest processor I've seen in a large-scale tablet or smartphone, for that matter, even announced. In terms of other specs, 16 or 32 gigabytes of internal storage, a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera for video chat, so that's VGA. There will not be, as far as I can tell, a rear-facing camera on this, which is kind of interesting. A lot of people bashed Apple's iPad for not having it, but clearly, ergonomically, it's kind of weird to have a rear camera on that, so it kind of makes sense that the touchpad didn't do that as well. Something really cool, because HP and Beats by Dre have really teamed up a lot on laptops. I'm sure you've seen the commercials. Internal audio will be powered by Beats, which is pretty exciting. I can't wait to actually hear how these sound. A lot of mobile devices suffer from sort of tinny and poor audio quality and fidelity, but I'm really excited to see Beats by Dre because that's a huge brand, and I'm expecting some great things out of the touchpad. In terms of the battery life, 6200 milliamp hour, so that's 6200 milliamps in the battery. That's quite a lot of juice. I'm really looking forward to seeing the performance in terms of battery life on this. I've never seen such a huge battery before. I know that on my MacBook Pro, the battery is not even 6200 milliamp hours. So kudos to HP for that. That is a colossal battery that they were able to get into the touchpad. But when will we actually be able to, get our hands on it? Because up until that point, it's still vaporware. We don't have it. We don't know what it actually feels like. Summer 2011 for the Wi-Fi only version. There'll be 3G versions, 3G models coming later after that. But originally and initially, we'll see a Wi-Fi only summer 2011. No word yet also if when we get the 3G support, if there'll be any sort of 4G-ish stuff going on. But we'll see about that. One thing that I found really interesting about this, though, after HP said that the Palm name is dead, is that the synergy that'll be happening between these devices. So for this to occur, you're going to need webOS 2.2 or above. The Veer and the Pre3 will have that, and we don't know yet if this will be software updatable with the Pre2 and older hardware, but there's going to be a lot of cooperativity between these. The touchpad and the Pre3 will work together. So for instance, if you want to share URLs, all you have to do is tap the devices together, and the URL or the web page that you're loaded will just switch between the devices. So let's say you started reading the illustrious michaelsherlock.com on your touchpad, but you needed to go run to catch a train. Just tap it, tap the two devices together, and you'll be able to continue reading on your Pre. Another cool thing is that you'll actually be able to answer phone calls and SMS messages on the touchpad when the two devices are working together. Now, I'm not exactly sure the details on that, if they have to be Bluetooth together, if you have to use the mobile hotspot that the Veer and the Pre3 have and link the touchpad that way. I'm not 100% sure about how the technology works, but the idea is pretty cool. So I'm super excited about these new webOS devices. webOS has always been an exciting thing to me, and I'm hoping that HP's relaunch of this brand can really provide the juice needed for webOS to really be adopted by the masses. So for my question of the day, it's not if you're excited about this event, because there's no reason not to be happy. Competition is going to definitely push the industry forward, but what do you think about this? One little tidbit that HP had in their event is that webOS is, in the future, they're working on it now, coming to printers and PCs for later in 2011. I think that's pretty exciting, but the question of the day is, do you think that webOS is a mature enough operating system to be powering a full-fledged PC where you expect everything to work and flow quite nicely? So I'm Michael Sherlock from michaelsherlock.com. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you, HP, for this exciting event. I'm glad I wasn't let down today, and have a nice day.